two R's, R squared. And guess what we're going to do today? You know what? We're in the kitchens of the Delisle Community Chapel. And we are today going to bring you a recipe called Jeremiah Scripture Cake. And it's even got burnt Jeremiah syrup.
Poor Jeremiah.
Poor Jeremiah. Every ingredient that we're going to put into this recipe is based on a scripture verse. And so we're going to make this cake and see how it turns out. We've never made this cake before. Have you?
No, I haven't.
I haven't either.
But
so we'll
it
see.
should be good.
It should be good. It's got good ingredients. So what's the first thing you have to do when you're going to make a cake?
Turn the oven on.
325 degrees for this particular cake. Then, the next thing we're going to do, you got that all set there, Ruth? Yep, it's heating up. Great. We have a bundt pan. Bundt pans are actually pretty cool. I know they've been kind of maligned a lot in recent movies, etc. But bundt pans are actually pretty cool to make things in. I even make bread in mine sometimes. But right now we're taking some butter and we are spreading this butter all over. Ruth, do we have a little bit of extra flour there? Because we're going to need that after. A little bit of extra flour. I actually put some out right there. So we have a little bit extra flour because after we have lavished on this butter and we are got this really well buttered up. I kind of had to butter up Ruth to be able to get her to do this video with me.
Oh, wow. Step out of my comfort zone.
So we are buttering up this bundt pan, and then Ruth's going to put a little bit of flour in it and basically shake it all around because she needs to get the flour on the inside. Going to butter up the inside as well as the outer sides.
Can I do the hokey pokey while I
do it? Sure! I'll even sing!
Dear.
Okay, so you're sprinkling in the flour. Tip it a little bit so they can see it on the camera. There we go. And sometimes if you knock it against the little bit, you just kind of turn it and you get it all over your countertop.
Hey, but it wouldn't be me baking unless I made a mess.
So once we've got that all done, then we can start putting the ingredients together in... Okay, good thing we have a trash can handy there. So, your bowl is ready. Your bundt pan is ready. All right. The very first ingredient is butter. We have a big bowl out here that we're going to mix things in. And we've got a handy-dandy mixer, which... Well, now that we have our technical issues taken care of with our beater, extension cords work great, we are going to start actually putting things together. 3/4 cup of butter. And this comes from Judges chapter 5, verse 25. So we've let it get a little soft already. And so it's soft enough that Ruth is going to take her mixer and she's going to start to mix that around a little bit. And we're going to add the sugar to it. We have here 1.5 cups of sugar from Jeremiah chapter 6, verse 20. There we go. You know what? We're going to have to separate eggs. So why don't you let me mix that and you can start separating eggs. A harder job. So while this is mixing together, the sugar and the butter, Ruth is separating 5 eggs. The eggs are taken from Isaiah chapter 10, verse 14. Are you doing that? Oh, are you doing that? One. Okay, that's making it go a little easier in the pan, in the bowl. She lost her yolk. I'll put it in here. It's okay. It's just that you're going to have to make the egg whites a little stiffer later. And so this way we're trying to separate them. And she's doing it the old-fashioned way. Did you know that in the late 1800s, there was two mothers that wanted their daughters to learn how to bake and also to learn scripture. So they probably didn't have an egg separator back in the 1800s when they made up this recipe, did they? Oh, woo, Nellie! Okay, one more. Let's see if she can do it.
Nowadays, you would use an egg separator, which probably would work a lot faster and better.
Well, next time I'll separate the eggs and they can laugh at me, right?
There we
go. 5 eggs. Woohoo! Okay. We're mixing this all around so it's nice and moist and soft and ooh, yellow, yellow, yellow. All right. So while this is mixing, I'm actually going to turn this off because the next step is for us to stiffen the egg whites. So why don't you do that, Ruth? And I will get our flour ready. The 5 eggs, as I mentioned, were from Isaiah chapter 10, verse 14. Woohoo! Stiffen up those egg whites. For egg whites, you need it to be a little faster and louder. Here in a bowl, we have 3 cups of sifted flour. And that comes from Leviticus chapter 24, verse 5. 3 cups of sifted flour. And we're going to add to that, before we add it to our sugar, butter, egg mixture, we are going to add to this flour our salt, and we have a half a teaspoon of salt. I'm using pink Himalayan salt. I don't know if that's what they had back in 2 Kings, but that comes from 2 Kings 2:20. Boy, that's loud. I hope those get stiff soon. So we're going to put that into our flour. As well, we're going to take from Amos chapter 4, verse 5, 3 teaspoons of baking powder. Not baking soda, baking powder. That will go in with the flour. Then we have a teaspoon of cinnamon. Cinnamon is mentioned in Exodus chapter 30, verse 23. I wonder how they did that in the late 1800s. Did they have one of the girls reading the scripture when the other ones were baking?
They must have. Then they taught 2 of them instead of just 1.
Exactly. Then I put together in this little bowl equal amounts of nutmeg, ginger, and allspice. And those are mentioned in 2 Chronicles 9:9. I'm assuming it's 2 Chronicles. So there's Chronicles 1 and Chronicles 2.
Yeah, it's 2 Chronicles.
Okay, good. So I've got a 1/4 teaspoon each of all these spices, and I'm going to add that to the flour. Woo-hoo! Starting to smell really good.
Okay, give me a second.
Okay.
Just give me a minute.
Our egg whites are almost there. So I'm going to mix this together a little bit. All this stuff with the flour, so it's all mixed together. You know, we're meeting here in our church kitchen, and we actually have a really nice church kitchen here. It's such a shame that we can't use it to have our famous potlucks during COVID now. But we have had some wonderful meals out of this kitchen. Ruth has been at this church almost since she was born. Well, probably since you were born,
Since
right?
I was born, yes.
I've only been here 4 and a little bit years, but tell you, I've enjoyed some great meals in here. So we are hoping that this cake will turn out so that you can enjoy something from our kitchen to yours, even though we can't get together right now. So we have those egg whites stiffened. So now we need to put together, alternating with the milk. We also need some milk, which is 1/2 a cup of milk from Judges chapter 4, verse 19. So first of all, we're going to mix the flour into the butter mixture, alternating with milk until all the flour is blended in. So it's going to be another little beaters, but Ruth is going to work the beaters while I pour in a little bit of each. Just a little bit at a time always helps, and then you can moisten it with a little bit of milk. That way everything gets all mixed together better. A little bit of milk. That's why having it pre-measured ahead of time just works so nicely. You don't have to be measuring while you're actually doing the mixing part. Yeah, I know, I'm making a mess.
And we'll work together on that then.
We might not be the fanciest of cooks, but you know what? We both like to cook, and
But at the end of the day, we know we've cooked because it's everywhere. Or baked, I should say.
So what's your very favorite thing to bake?
I like baking Dad's cookies
Ah,
and muffins.
I like making bread or buns. I do sometimes make chocolate chip cookies because my husband says mine are the best in the world, but you know, what does he know? But I know he sure enjoys them. Okay, a little bit of flour mix left. There we go. Make sure we get all those spices in there. And then a little bit of the milk is left, so put that in there. Whoop.
That's getting harder and harder to do.
Yeah. So
I think we need to add the next item in, which is our
egg whites.
egg whites.
So here we go, our egg
Oh,
whites.
hold on. The mixer's getting away on me.
Pretty soon she's going to be running across the yard with it. Okay,
Okay.
so we are putting the egg whites in, and we're going to fold them into the batter. So folding means we don't put it on very high.
Okay.
So it means it's just a little bit. So she won't be going all over the place like that. And this will mix in nicely. We don't want to lose you.
Never know. I could just go wild on this thing.
If you see her off in the parking lot, you'll know what happened. Okay, let's go. Gently fold them. It's usually your lowest setting of your mixer. That's where you're just kind of folding things in together. The next thing we've got is to have chopped nuts, raisins, and figs. Figs aren't something that I usually put in a cake, but I think it sounds interesting. So the chopped nuts, we're using 3/4 of a cup of walnuts today, and that comes from Genesis chapter 43, verse 11. Okay. There she goes. Then we also have 3/4 of a cup of finely chopped figs. We used, what kind of figs were those? There was a name for those figs. Black Forest? No, it wasn't Black Forest. It was
Black Mission.
Black Mission. Oops, that's right in front of the camera. Black Mission figs is what we're using, and we've cut them out quite finely. And there's 3/4 a cup of those, and that comes from Jeremiah 24. We're using a lot of Jeremiah today, 24 verse 5. So we're going to put those in, and Ruth's going to use her spatula and just gently fold those in there, as well as the nuts, which come from Genesis 43:11. Ooh, it's looking very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And then we've got 3/4 of a cup of raisins, and that comes from 2 Samuel chapter 16 verse 1. And you know, when we read off these scriptures, we're going to put them for you at the end of the video today, and so you can look at the recipe, and you can also look up the scripture portions. So we're putting in those raisins. Okay. And we did have some whole almonds, which we're going to use for a garnish later, because there's also a syrup, burnt Jeremiah syrup to use with these, and we're going to make that in just a few minutes. But the first thing is we want to put this in the oven. And then once we've got it in the oven, we're going to bake it. And you've already heated up your oven to 325 degrees. Are we ready yet? Yeah, I think we are.
And that's what it looks like.
So we've prepared this pan for this, and we're going to put it into the pan, and we're going to bake it for about 1 hour and 10 minutes. So we're going to put it in the pan, show you how we do that, and then we are going to... Here, you hold it. No, I can put it in there. It's really quite thick, so you almost have to put it in like in little pieces, because you don't want it getting all over the place, right? This is one place where we don't want to be too messy. So you can kind of turn your pan as you go and just kind of put pieces into it. And it will all level out, I promise you. Once you get it all done, it'll all level out and it'll all be an even topped cake. That's what we're hoping anyway. It smells so good. Can you smell the spices, Ruth?
You bet.
Boy, it's quiet without that mixer now, isn't it? Okay, this is really thick. Whew! This is a thick batter. This is going to be a very moist cake with everything in it. You can also vary up a little bit those ingredients if you'd rather put in dates than figs. That's in the Bible too. You can put different kinds of nuts. We used walnuts, but I don't think it specifies in the Bible what nuts they were. See, I'm going to have to clean this up just a little bit here. Get all this good batter out there. And maybe we need a spoon here so I don't have to lick the spatula. Great. 1 spoon should do it. Thank you. Just get this all cleaned up because it is so thick that a metal implement certainly works better than plastic sometimes. There we go. Just kind of smooth it off a little bit in the top, so help it a little bit with its leveling process. And away we go. Do the honors, my dear.
Thank you. Oh.
Okay. So we're timing it for 1 hour and 10 minutes. See you back shortly. Our cake is almost done. And we use, as a cake tester, a long piece of spaghetti. So, Ruth is going to take out the cake a little bit and take a piece of spaghetti and put it in the center of the cake to see if it comes out dry. There we go. Let's see how this cake looks. Ooh, it's looking pretty good, but is it done or not? We don't know until we put in the piece of spaghetti. If it comes out wet, oh, it's coming out dry. Do you think it's done?
I think we're pretty good at done.
Yeah, the spaghetti's coming out dry. So I think now that we have to move it to a rack on our countertop here. Ooh, what it tastes like.
You bet. So we have our cake done and it's cooled a bit. We've kind of loosened the sides of it. So we're going to take this pan and we're going to flip it over and we're going to see if it comes out.
Woo! I love it.
Ta-da! That looks really gorgeous.
Oh, it does. It does.
Alrighty. So now we're going to make our burnt Jeremiah sauce.
You're burning Jeremiah?
You betcha. We're going to take 1.5 cups of sugar and we're going to put it in a saucepan.
Just the plain sugar into a pan. Who would have thought of?
Yes, because we're wanting to melt it and make it that dark golden brown.
Ah, that's where the burnt part comes in.
You bet.
Not really burnt, but just really golden brown.
So we're going to turn it on to low because you don't want it to melt too fast.
Okay.
And this is going to take a little longer than you would like it to. It's called a burnt Jeremiah syrup.
Hey, what does that mean? Burnt Jeremiah.
Well, what it means is we're going to burn our sugar first.
Okay.
We're going to put it into a pan.
How much you got there?
We've got 1.5 cups of sugar.
Okay. And we're going to Jeremiah again, right?
Yes, we are. Jeremiah 6, verse 20. So we're going to put it on a lower heat. So You stir it every once in a while.
So what
As
should
it's
you
melting.
be doing in the meantime? Should you be watching Netflix, or should you be just watching your sugar, right? Make sure it
Yes,
doesn't
I
really
would
burn.
not be going too far because it does melt and then you really want to be around.
Okay. After about 10 minutes in the pan, Ruth, show us what the sugar looks like now.
Starting to melt.
Can you tip up the pan for us?
Starting to melt and liquefy.
Okay, so we're going to keep going for a while.
Yep, we'll just keep doing it for a little bit longer.
So that looks pretty golden brown there. Not burnt, just nicely, wonderfully golden brown. One thing to be aware of is that sugar gets really, really hot. Ruth just kind of burned her finger a little bit. I think she's okay though, but you have to be really careful. So we found out a trick that we need to put in hot water.
Yes, hot water so that because everything else is hot. So we're going to just put it in gently.
Half a cup of water. Ooh. Little bit at a time you're putting in, just to make it so that it becomes a syrup. Ooh, wow, it's beautiful. You can see a little bit. Oh, a little bit at a time. That's a beautiful color, isn't it, Ruth?
I think we can turn our heat off while we're doing this.
And our quarter cup of butter is waiting for when we take it off the heat totally. That'll smooth off all the edges. Ooh, nice. Okay, we do have a very nice golden brown syrup. And once we add the butter, we're going to smooth that all out. But it looks delish. Very, very hot delish. We've tried this syrup a number of times now, and we have differing results depending on the stove and the pot we're using. And so if you have any lumps, don't worry about them.
Okay, then we're going to put
One
a quarter of a cup of butter in.
There you go. Melt that all in there.
Which will make it creamier.
Very decadent. Once this is all done, we're going to pour it over that delicious looking cake. Ooh,
There. It's quite creamier.
wow.
Okay,
All right, so are we just going to go pour this over the cake?
I think so.
Woo! Okay, hang on. I'm going to show you doing that.
It's quite liquidy, which is what we want. So we're going to pour it gently.
Gently, gently. Ooh. It's kind of like a toffee syrup almost, isn't it?
Yeah, it sure is.
Burnt Jeremiah syrup. And that had in it 1.5 cups sugar from Jeremiah 6:20, 1/2 cup water from Genesis 24 verse 45, and 1/4 cup butter from Genesis chapter 18 verse 8. Looking good. And our next thing is almonds. We had sliced up some almonds. You sliced those all up, didn't you, Ruth? You
Yeah.
took the whole almonds.
I did slice them in half. They I'm just putting them in the little ridges.
Oh, from the bundt pancake pan. The bundt pan. I guess if you used an angel food cake pan, then you would have a flat surface if you prefer that.
Yeah, that's
This looks
for sure.
really pretty. All right.
Okay.
So, woohoo! Do I get a chance to taste it?
If as long as it's not too hot.
No, it's not. Ooh, wow! And an almond kind of got caught. Yummy.
And there we are.
Beautiful.
Line up away.
So, I think we should eat it. Let's do a taste test.
What's nice about a bundt pan is you've got a really nice slice.
A ready-made slice spot.
Probably not use 1 pound.
Ooh, doesn't that look good?
And you can also take a spoon and pour over top of your cake some of the sauce that's in the bottom.
I might even just clean out the pan a little here, Ruth.
Well, it's quite liquidy in here too, so
Okay.
a person could pour some over top of their cake as well too.
Oh, nice.
Did you want some more?
Oh, of course. Wonderful. Let's see what we did. If it's any good.
It needs some ice cream.
Yeah, I think so. Oh. Do we dare?
You betcha. We dare.
Mmm.
Very moist. Very delicious with the sauce.
Does it need ice cream?
Not anymore. No, it definitely doesn't need ice cream.
Okay. But you know what? I think my husband might put it on anyway.
Okay.
All right. We have made our Jeremiah scripture cake with burnt Jeremiah syrup. Woohoo!
Thank you for watching.